Immigration front lawyers say the Trump administration is still refusing to give a federal judge information on Kilmar Abrego Garcia in that case, but they are saying that they're going to engage in, quote, appropriate diplomatic discussions with El Salvador. And in court papers filed today, the government is saying that they will not answer any more questions regarding Garcia because they are treating the case basically like state secrets. Now, all this is happening as Democrats are on the ground in El Salvador demanding updates on Garcia, pushing for his release. Let's bring in NBC's David Noriega, who is also out there in El Salvador. David, I understand you actually headed to Garcia's old neighborhood out there. What are people saying where he grew up?
Yeah, Gotti, so I spent a good part of the morning today in San Marcos, which is the part of San Salvador where Kilmar Abrego Garcia grew up. Heard a lot of interesting things. You know, neighbors, former neighbors of the family who doesn't live there anymore, said that they were a regular family, but the mother ran a small business from their home, making and selling tortillas. And that is what made them a target of the gangs, because they were targeting her for extortion fees. Now, at the time when Abrego Garcia was living there as a child and a teen in the 2000s, is right when these gangs were really establishing pretty much full control over that neighborhood and many other neighborhoods in the city and elsewhere in the country. And that is why the Abrego Garcia family says that he, at age 16, had to flee to the United States. Now, things have changed very dramatically in just the last few years. That is because of President Nayib Bukele's so-called state of exception, in which he suspended constitutional protections, many constitutional protections, and incarcerated more than 80,000 people with little to no due process. Now, the responses to this that I heard from people in this neighborhood were complicated. They were mixed. On the one hand, people are very grateful for this newfound sense of peace and tranquility, the sort of freedom, as they describe it, from the gangs. I spoke, for example, to one restaurant owner in this neighborhood. I asked her, how have things changed in El Salvador in recent years? Take a listen to what she said.
Bueno, han mejorado bastante. La seguridad en el país es muy buena. La tranquilidad también. Hoy te puedes dormir en tu casa pues tranquila. Puedes abrir un pequeño negocio tranquilamente sin esperar que te vengan a amedrentar, a amenazar.
At the same time, Gotti, a number of residents of that neighborhood and other parts of the city have told us, although usually they're very careful to only tell us this off camera, that they don't feel comfortable criticizing the Bukele government, including what they describe, you know, the stories that they hear of innocent people getting swept up in his crackdown on the gangs. And that is because although, you know, they used to be afraid primarily of the gangs, they now realize that sticking their neck out in any way, publicly criticizing the government in any way, could lead to reprisals. Gotti?
Yeah, such a complicated reality there. And now when it comes to the $6 to $15 million that the United States is paying El Salvador for the deportee detainee deal, like, do we know where that money is going?
We don't, actually. We have no idea. And that is one thing that human rights advocates and transparency advocates here in El Salvador talk about quite a bit. They say that we know that this money has been paid because both the Trump and Bukele governments have said that this exchange has taken place, but that money has not been officially incorporated into El Salvador's public budget. There's no transparency whatsoever into that agreement at all. We haven't seen a contract, you know, guiding or determining the terms under which the United States is transferring these people to this mega prison or paying to house them at this mega prison. People here in El Salvador say that there is no clear law here in El Salvador that provides a foundation for the Bukele government to be accepting their end of this deal. And yeah, I mean, to reiterate, we do not know where that money is going. There's no transparency, there's no tracking, there's no oversight. And that is something that's a matter of great concern to many people here in El Salvador.
David Noriega with some incredible reporting from El Salvador. David, thank you for joining us.